But our lead this hour from the Bay, and we have resolution. Finally. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All kinds of chatter has been going on around the runner-up in the NFL. We've talked about this multiple times. It's been great for what we do. So if you've not heard the latest revelations that have gone on, and maybe not, we've learned now the 49ers have elected to keep Brandon Aijuk. He has agreed to a 4-year contract for $120 million, dead presidents. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I could lie to you. You wouldn't know if I was or not, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little teary-eyed. I am. Right? This is the death of a story that we have beaten into the ground. As Mr. Nice Guy would say, we flogged the horse on this one, the dead horse. The soap opera fed the beast, the sports machine of content, endless rumors, innuendo, cryptic social media posts. It dragged on and on and on, including Brandon Aijuk playing footsie with his buddy, former Arizona State teammate Jalen Daniels, and flirting with the Commanders. But in the end, status quo. All right, so let us discuss the question. Who won the Cold War? Is that too dramatic? Who won the Cold War standoff between Brandon Aijuk and the 49ers? I've got Dutch oven, algebra, and Ronald Reagan. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to sit at the round table. We're all at the round table here. We're all chatting with each other. So, I spent a good amount of time. I had a minutes-long MALLER deliberation on who was the winner in this contract squabble. The verdict is in, and my vote goes to the Dutch oven as, I would say, sourdough Sam. You can cook sourdough in a Dutch oven. Sourdough Sam, the mascot there. The scale's leaning heavily towards the 49ers. Now, you're probably saying, "Well, you're a dummy. What's wrong? You don't know what you're talking about." It's hard to imagine a guy who got $76 million guaranteed did not win the day. However, we live in bizarro world, the industrial complex of pro sports. So why did the 49ers win? Why did they win this negotiation? Because they kept the player, and if you believe the reporting, they didn't raise their offer. I failed to get CeeDee Lamb money. He didn't get Justin Jefferson money. And he's going to have to settle for money similar to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who pointed out, as we talked about in a previous episode of the show, that doing audio content is harder than running routes in the NFL. He said that. Now, who do you think leaked, just between me and you, who do you think leaked the Brandon Aijuk story that he took the same offer that had been on the table for the last 3 weeks or so? So let's examine that. Now, I like these kind of stories because you try to figure out who's the leak. And this one's rather obvious. I don't think you need me to tell you just by having half a brain. We always ask two questions, though. Who stands to gain from leaking the information, and why would you leak now? The answer to both those questions is ding, 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 ding. That's right, the 49ers. Because why do you leak now? Well, you leak now because the contract has been agreed upon. It's docu-signed. You gain from the leak because you say, did the rest of the world, we didn't give in. No, that's the same offer. He took the offer. We made the offer. He just didn't want to go to training camp. The guy's lazy or whatever. We made the offer. So you try to win the information war, the hearts and minds of the undecided 49er apologist. Now, page 2. Is the player Brandon Aijuk worth $30 million a year? Let's examine that. So what we did here is get the MALLER microscope out and look at the spreadsheet here for the 49ers. So examining the Niners and where they're at right now, not where they're going to be, where they're at right now, the answer here is N+O. Because if you look at the X's and O's part of it, the hierarchy of the Niners, the totem pole there for the Niners, you've got Christian McCaffrey, who's at the very top of the totem pole. And then below that, Deebo Samuel, those are the guys that really put the fear of God into you. And then on a rare and appropriate night or afternoon, George Kittle, the tight end, who's 30 but getting very old. He looks older. He's had some injury issues. And then after that, Brandon Aijuk, who's the number 4 option on the totem pole. But yet, if my math is correct, as I check my notes here, he's the 5th highest paid on average wide receiver in the NFL. So good for him. It's a great mitzvah. But the standard algebra doesn't work either. My entire life, the algebra for these contracts has been E plus B equals C, meaning the E, the eyeballs, plus butts in seats equals C, cash. And Brandon Aijuk, am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. He's not must-see TV. No one's going to say, oh, my God, I can't wait to watch the Niners. I want to see what Brandon Aiuk's going to do. Maybe he'll become that guy. He's not that guy right now, and he doesn't sell tickets. You're not going to like, I got to go to the game. I got to see what this guy's going to do. But he got paid anyway. So how does this work? How is he able to pull it off? I have a theory on this. So my theory is that the player, Brandon Aijuk, used 2 things. He used the feigned scarcity of the wide receiver market and FOMO, as in fear of missing out. So he ends up getting paid, and the Niners, we want to keep the player. What if he leaves and goes to Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Washington and has success? Of course, nobody goes to Cleveland and Washington and has success, but maybe Pittsburgh. But in the end, we always default that the player is worth whatever someone is willing to pay them. And I've continued to tell our bosses here at Fox Sports Radio, I would love for people to say I'm overpaid. That would make me feel so good. I want mean things said about how much money I make and how rich I am and how overpaid I am. I want to be that guy. I'd like to be that guy. Now, some of you probably think I'm already overpaid, but trust me, based on the amount of time that is spent preparing for the show and doing the show and all that stuff, not overpaid. But I'd like to be overpaid. So if my bosses want to overpay me, I'd be more than happy to take the criticism on. Now, last word. What is the counter blast from Brandon Aiuk's deal with the 49ers now that it's Dunskies? What is the counter blast? Every action has an equal reaction. So the initial thought I had here was something that President Ronald Reagan came up with years ago, trickle-down economics. So we know on this show the salary cap is not real, right? It's not. We don't believe the salary cap is real. So that said, the Niners, though, you can bet your bottom dollar the Niners will weaponize the Brandon Aijuk contract, and they will say they're hemorrhaging money and they're going to cry poverty. And the initial thought is, well, Trent Williams is not happy. He's still at loggerheads. He's likely going to be gone. Okay. Well, not to mention Brock Purdy, who's close to his massive payday. He's got to get through this year, then he's going to get paid. So the smart money is that this will be the swan song for Deebo Samuel, who's been out celebrating all these contracts that have been handed out. But his deal, there's an out after this year, and if you're going to pay Brandon Aijuk to be the 5th highest paid receiver in the NFL on average, then you might as well start throwing him the ball so he is productive and more productive. And then Deebo Samuel, who gets hurt quite a bit anyway, and you look at the age and you do the math on that, and it makes sense that he would be the guy who's the odd man out.